Welcome back to Tetrakan Super Monoblock, Tascam 488 Mark 1, part 1 of the teardown. Let's open it up, get the transport out, disconnect the transport, change the belts. Part 2 will be dismantling the upper section and part 3 will be dismantling the lower section. Inside here, 2 little screws, completely different size to any of the other screws. Don't lose them. If you lose them, it might not work properly. Really important, small type of screwdriver to remove those. Why am I speaking like this? I don't know. Too much coffee maybe. On the other side, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 places marked with yellow tape. Inside those places marked with yellow tape, screws like this, only got a ferrule in the last bit. And then these places with the red tape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shorter black screws, ferrule all the way along, going into plastic, therefore wider ferrule. Once you've got those screws removed, I wouldn't recommend tipping on its edge like this because it is quite heavy, but I'm doing it this way because otherwise I can't get the lighting in the camera right. 2 connections going from the top corner of this bottom bit. See that? Right, most of those 2. So there's a 6-pin Molex KK connector there, and we can pull this out here. That connector just goes into the edge of the mixer board here. This board here, which is the transport controller, on this side that's connecting to 2 cables here, there and there, and then this pair of master faders. 3 cables at the bottom here. One's over beside these big capacitors, and it's sending the power to all of this. And then there's a little earth one that goes here. That's already come disconnected, and then that's your, I think that's the headphone socket output there. Once you've disconnected those cables, the top half is going to come away like so. First thing to do is to disconnect all the cables that are coming from the playback and arrays magnetic heads to the record and playback board here. There's a cable tie here that's keeping those in place. Some of these wires are pretty delicate, so I wouldn't risk just pulling them out by the strength of the wires. Better you grab the side of the plugs with pliers. I'm not going to film the whole process, but just something to note on reassembly. This is the record playback head. It's got the information for 2 channels. You see how there's a red and a blue colour identifying tape around the cables. So if you get confused about where these 2 smaller red ones for the raise head are going, then you see how there's 3 red plugs there. Put in the wider one first. If you put that in, there's only one way it can go because it's a polarized connector, just meaning there's only one way that you can plug that in. Then the red cable's going to be up there and the blue cable's going to be down there. So the red plug with the blue identifier goes beside the blue cable, etc, etc. With all those cables disconnected, there's an additional 3 cables that connect from this control A PCB to the various motors and so on via 3 plugs here, white one, black one, white one. Then earth from the metal chassis of the cassette player to the transformer is connected via this black cable with a ring terminal here. It's a small screw that came out of there. Then you're going to find a screw like this with a short shank and then a short ferrule either side of the cassette player. The shank means that there's a little bit of give in the way it sits. Really the way that that's held in a stable way against the upper case is through the 2 screws that I mentioned earlier that come through the upper plastic case through the cassette cavity. Something I find confusing when I've been reassembling these is that there are 6 holes, but there are only 2 screws, so don't panic if you think you've lost 4. I beg your pardon, I missed out one more cable, which is this red one that's sitting on top of this Control B daughter board here. At that point, the cassette player is completely detached. Let's have a quick talk about the cassette player before I change the belt on it. We've got a 3-motor system here. Capstan motor here via a belt turns this flywheel, which is attached to the capstan here. So in playback and record mode, this head assembly pinch roller is going to be raised. The magnetic heads touch against the tape. The tape is pinched between the pinch roller and the capstan, and that pulls the tape at a steady speed from this supply reel onto this take-up reel. Motor responsible for lifting that is this one on the right. You can just about see that it's going to, via a system of spiral, we call that corkscrew. It's a proper name for it. I'll leave a subtitle in post-production. Anyway, that transfers rotation that way into rotation this way. And there's a set of gears there that raises and lowers that. And then finally this motor in the centre, that's the real motor. Real as in R-E-E-L rather than R-E-A-L. They're all real motors, R-E-A-L. But depending whether you're in record or rewind, there's going to be a little idler with a little tyre that goes that way or that way. And so if it's pushed that way, then that will turn in that direction, causing it to rewind. This way for fast forward. It will also be holding the tape top between this point and this point in playback and record. So if you ever have a bad idler in there, then what may start to happen is that slips against that, so this isn't turning as fast as the tape is being drawn through between the pinch roller and the capstan, and so there's a build up of tape here, and that's how you get tape due. Anyway, in order to change the belt, you can see the capstan belt here should be sitting at the bottom of this flywheel here, and it's going around a pulley on this capstan motor. And actually I've already changed this one, but I'll show you how to remove the plate so you get an idea of how to do it. 3 screws, there's one here, and then these 2 here. With those screws removed, then this plate, complete with the capstan motor, is going to come off. So if this was loose or completely melted, then you could get that off. You could just remove the flywheel like that and clean any. Actually, I'll probably. The belt should sit there, so the fact that there's some kind of muck up here doesn't actually matter, but maybe I should clean that. Usually when I'm replacing this, then I'll put that like so, making sure I don't hook around that post there. Sometimes what you can do is put a bit of tape over there, leave that like that, then put the plate back in. There's these little tabs that fit into 2 slots there, and then once you've got one of these screws on, say start with that one, and you can put those 2 in later, then you can use a pair of tweezers or something to hook the belt off there and put it onto the capstan pulley. Okay, stick around for the next video in which I will be taking the rest of the 488 Mark I to bits.